All right, it is 10 o'clock on October 11th, and welcome to the Curriculum Instruction Committee meeting. Do we have any public comments?
We do.
Okay. We haven't had this in so long, so how do we do?
What's that?
How do we do the public comments? At the mic?
Well, they would if we had any. But
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You said we did.
Yeah,
No,
I'm
we
sorry.
don't. Okay. My apologies.
Scott.
All right. And we have two board members virtually. And so are there any additions or corrections to the minutes from last month's meeting? Literally hearing none, we'll say the minutes are approved. And I'm going to go ahead and say board member comments till the end. We ask a lot of questions. We don't usually have bandstands we get on at this point. So I'll let Dr. Cuppett take it away.
So good morning, everyone. I'm Kevin Cuppett. I'm the Chief Academic Officer here in Frederick County Public Schools. And we bring forward two presentations for the C&I committee today related to college and career ready pathways. I'm going to introduce Diana Sung. She's our coordinator of dual enrollment and advanced placement. Does a lot of outstanding work in conjunction with our friends at Frederick Community College. And she's going to give a presentation about those parts of the pathways that are laid out in the blueprint and kind of how it looks here in Frederick County. And then that'll be followed by a presentation around career and technical education that will have another group of staff members come up. So Diana, if you want to go ahead and go to that. As we pointed out, one of the key components in the blueprint is around college and career readiness. Now here in Frederick County, we've split that work into both a 3A and a 3B. It's Pillar 3, but the work is pretty significant. And so many districts across the state of Maryland have kind of split this work into two subcommittees. And so Diana obviously has been serving as a part of this work. And she actually touches on work in both areas, and you'll hear that a little bit in the presentation today. And so in the blueprint's goal to create this world-class instructional system, you'll see here that students will be able to pursue these pathways that could include early college, which we have a growing program here in FCPS, advanced placement. You'll hear later about our industry certification and credentials that we have in career and technical education. So this is kind of the big picture of what we're doing, and I think next slide might be mine too. Just a reminder for board members, you have received kind of like one-sheeters associated with this in the past, and so we'll be touching on the right side of this document, which is the CCR and career technical education day. So at this time, I'll turn it over to Diana to fill us in on where we are with dual enrollment.
Thank you, Dr. Cuppett. So I like to start with some celebrations because in a lot of ways, Frederick County Public Schools is leading the way in the area of growth and development of these post-CCR pathways, which is what they're called under Blueprint. So one of our more recent developments in dual enrollment, this is our second graduating class of early college from 2023 this spring. Just wanted to share these young people because they make me really excited to do what I do. But we did spend some time, since that program is still relatively new, we did an evaluation this last year. And the quote you see there comes from one of the students in the evaluation that we did of the program. And I just think it speaks to the way that we build all of these programs, which is that idea of advancing student independence and pushing them towards their next steps, but also ensuring that we provide the right supports at the right time. And so he said, I feel early college provides a perfect balance of supporting each student and ensuring their success, but also a level of independence and learning things for ourselves. So I couldn't say it better than the students. So I just wanted to start with that. We are moving just holistically in both AP, dual enrollment, and CTE towards this idea of thinking of it as an umbrella of career and college readiness and career college readiness pathways. And we have a new logo for career and college readiness that is getting ready to launch. So I wanted to share that. It looks beautiful. And then we've also been doing some really fabulous work around some new programs recently. My partnership with our Success program has allowed for FCC and FCPS to collaboratively develop an inclusive higher education program. So we had 5 Success students last spring earn a college credit. And that's just phenomenal. And there was a lot of complexity and a lot of work there, and really Tracy Jeremio and her team in special education did a lot of that heavy lifting. But it was this partnership work and this idea of dual enrollment as accessing higher education, not just for the elite student, but thinking about how it serves all of our students.
And so Diana, for the public who may be watching,
Sure.
Success is a post kind of high school special education experience for students up through age 21 who are looking to move to career. A lot of transition activities with those transition planning with those students. So again, speaking towards your inclusiveness, very exciting. So
Yeah.
thank you for your hard work on
I
that.
thought I heard you wrong. I thought, that must be something over at FCC. And then it's like, oh no, when you said Tracy, it's like,
Yeah, and we did, they did some non-credit programs. There's a social component as well as a career component, but they did also earn a college credit. So there was a lot of exciting things that happened around that partnership. We also, under the ESSER funded grant, developed a collaborative program with FCC, and it is now continuing under Laura's work. She'll tell you a little bit more about all of her work, but Early Foundations is that program, and it identifies students in 10th grade who to have a sort of involved experience of visiting FCC at the campus. And this last year, the students who participated in that program had a much higher rate of enrolling in an honors AP or dual enrollment course than we would typically see with that same population compared to their peers. And so it's been a collaborative effort with FCC, and we're happy we're able to continue that program even after the ESSER funding has expired. And then this broad idea, Dr. Committe touched on it, of really thinking about not these programs as discrete programs, but thinking about the holistic education of our students and what they are doing in the future in terms of career and college pathways, and sort of promoting the idea that we have a lot of dual enrollment options within these CTE pathways and programs of study. The idea that a student could do, actually 2 of those early college graduates participated also in FCC's Career Pathways program and earned a credential, a workforce credential before they graduated. And then many of our students are also AP and CTE, like they do a computer science AP course that's part of their CTE program of study. So this fusing of career and college pathways is something that we keep very central to our work at all times. And so just wanted to celebrate those successes before I get into some of the details about the program. So these programs, the big change from last year to this year is that these programs are now at no cost to students. Under Blueprint, students do not pay the fees for their AP tests. They don't pay for dual enrollment tuition fees or books. This creates obviously budgetary demands in FCPS, but it also has increased the capacity demands on our system. And dual enrollment in particular was already a program that we could not fully meet the demand that's there. We're trying to expand it as quickly as possible. And you'll see our growth has been, so we're meeting as much as we can, but we continue to find pathways to develop that capacity and that growth in partnership with FCC, but also for AP. AP has increased this year, and it's very exciting to see sort of students now accessing those programs. We're also working to move these from single course taking programs, like you take a dual enrollment course or you take an advanced placement course, and thinking about them as pathway development programs. And that's going to look different depending on what the different programs are. And so we're really excited to be doing that work. It actually aligns really well with some of the national advocacy for dual enrollment and for advanced placement. And so it'll be neat to see how Maryland and FCPS in particular can take a leadership role in that under Blueprint. So growth is the name of the game. We have dual enrollment in the last 2 years has increased by more than 50%. And actually in the last 2 weeks since I created this presentation, I checked this morning, and it was now 3,007 students who are enrolled. So we're now over 3,000 students enrolled for this school year. And we also have an increase in the last 2 years for advanced placement. So since the COVID did sort of have an impact on lowering advanced placement participation, but now we're kind of back up to our pre-COVID rates. So those are the big things that we're dealing with. But the other thing is I'd like to give a sense of, is the program as a whole growing? because we usually look at these numbers in terms of just enrollment in a high school that school year. But I also like to think about what is the experience of an FCPS student as they are graduating from our high schools. And so this is kind of those programs with seniors, and whether at any point they participated in one or more AP and one or more dual enrollment classes. And then also what we're seeing is students are not only, more students are participating, more students are taking more classes. So there's also a percent there of 3 or more AP classes and 3 or more dual enrollment classes. And so it's interesting to see it's not just that we're having more students participate in the programs, they're also starting to build those pathways. Equity is a major,
I could also add there, one thing you may hear in the community or we may hear from schools is a myth that dual enrollment expansion is at the cost of AP.
Yeah.
But this data here shows that as dual enrollment is expanding drastically, AP is either staying steady or in fact slightly uptaking from last year to this year. So always want to point that out.
Yeah, we definitely have seen it's had pretty minimal impact on actual enrollment and participation in AP. On a micro level, sometimes schools have to deal with, okay, 1 year we can offer the DE option, 1 year we can offer the AP option, but overall students are able to easily participate in both programs. It's very exciting. And then also equity is always something that I report on in these meetings because we keep that at the forefront of our mind. We're building these amazing opportunities and we want all of our students to have the same access to these programs. And so what this is student percent of seniors taking one or more dual enrollment course. And these are from some of our traditionally underrepresented groups. Again, remember that red bar is preliminary data. And so, it's unverified. And actually we do that on purpose because we try then to use it to recruit more students and make sure that they know about the opportunities that are available to them. But you can see in particular, some of the work we've been doing in equity has effectively eliminated the opportunity gap for students with 504 plans, doubled the participation of students with disabilities, and obviously some increase in participation by some of those subgroups that is more than just the increase of dual enrollment overall. So, we have a lot more work to do, but we're definitely working towards moving in that direction.
Yeah, and Diana, if you don't mind to jump in, I do want to thank Diana specifically for her efforts in this area. This equity lensed approach has been, as you can see, a lot of gains that we've made, and it should not go unnoticed that we do that work in partnership with FCC. They also have a strong equity lens, and they want to see access for dual enrollment courses for students from these traditionally underrepresented groups. So that partnership is always strong, but in this particular area of emphasis, it's very, we're very much in lockstep with the goals of our leadership at FCC. And so that's pretty exciting to see for students.
So some of our current initiatives, like I said, we have growth and we have more people wanting more classes. So one of the primary limitations to growth is teacher development. And so we're trying to build our teachers, our FCPS teachers, to become capable of teaching these FCC courses. They have to meet the same qualifications and credentials as all college professors. And so we are working in partnership with FCC to develop some pathways for teachers to become dual enrollment instructors rather than just saying yes or no. They're becoming our partners in some professional learning and some different ways of viewing our teachers. We're also expanding access for our instructors to access FCC's professional learning. They've actually been expanding some of their participation of our DE adjuncts, and they've been able to participate in FCC's efforts and their professional learning as well.
So Diana, can I also mention here in relationship to credentialing FCPS teachers to teach dual enrollment courses, there has been some conversation not only here in Frederick County, but in other districts where I liaison with. The blueprint calls for that national board certification. And we have a lot of teachers who have expressed concern that, to move towards this kind of credentialing, you want a master's in your content area. And so are those two demands somewhat conflicting here? And so we continue to provide feedback about that. And I'm sure that's going to come up in continued conversations around the pillar that includes the career ladder. So that as a board member, I'm sure you might have heard that. We just wanted you to be aware that we are aware that those conversations are occurring, and we provide feedback when we can.
And then also professional learning for our advanced placement teachers. We have some efforts this year to have some systemic learning specifically targeted for advanced placement teachers. So that's kind of exciting to be able to offer that. We also have noticed one of the things that we do when we do all of these equity audits and like, finding out from students what are some of the things we could improve with the program is that hearing about it and getting that guidance early on has been a challenge for some of our students. And so we are working cross departments collaboratively to develop some student and family guidance to let students and families know about what opportunities they have, some different communication tools that I've been able to share with schools, working with different school departments, like school-based personnel. So I've been working with the counseling department. I've been supporting our career and college readiness teachers in the building. I've been working with the career coaches that you'll hear a little bit more about to make sure that they also know about all of these materials that we're building and things like that. So we continue to do that work. We're not there yet, but that is a major initiative that we're working on this year.
I can just ask here, so yeah, counseling, when I hear a lot of these programs, counseling always comes up. One of the meetings we had, joint meetings with the FCC trustees, a group of students one of the years, and when they asked them, a lot of them, their parents had been the one to hear about it. So are you doing anything to make inroads with the parents?
Yeah, that was one of the things that we identified, and we are working with families, especially at the middle school level. That's kind of a goal that we're working on. But part of it is having good information and making sure our middle school counselors and our middle school staff know how to inform the parents as well. One thing that we are doing also is that students are more likely to receive the information from Schoology than they are from Find Out First. And so we've started pushing out messaging through both systems so that we're making sure that students are hearing about it as well.
Do you ever think of including community liaisons or the county PTA or local PTAs?
Yes, we've worked with some community groups, but we're continuing to expand that. So that is another area, that's part of that whole initiative. But yes, PTAs is a good one to make sure we reach out to. Some people have asked, like when we say we're focused on equity, what are we actually doing? so I sort of highlighted the 4 kind of key pillars of strategies there that we're using. We're looking really closely at procedural barriers that students might come up against, like a prerequisite that's not really truly necessary, or being able to access testing that they need to demonstrate college readiness. And we look at all those procedural barriers and try and remove as many of those as possible. We expand course offerings. We're very cognizant of, a student may be talented in math, but not talented in another area. And so they might feel more comfortable accessing a program in math than they are in another area. But also just thinking strategically about course offerings that help, that FCC has, that specifically onboard students towards a collegiate path. And actually College Board is working with that with AP as well. So we now have an AP pre-calculus that we're piloting in Oakdale High School. So it allows students that maybe previously had not taken an AP course to access. But also we have running in our high schools right now, we have a course called, FCC calls it ESOL 100. It blends support for our multilingual learners, language support, and offers them 3 transferable college credits in instruction about, college literacy. So we have that program running, but also thinking about some of these different offerings and how, a student might be more engaged by, a humanities or an arts class than they are by what we've traditionally offered. And so we're definitely expanding all of those things. We also monitor data regularly. That's a big part of ensuring that we're really looking at equity and access. And we also, there's a lot of research and a lot of good practice around ensuring that we're inviting students, rather than just expecting students to come to us. We found that students sometimes are not confident in their abilities. And so if we have good data to say that this student's profile will be successful in one of these courses, making sure that we're reaching out to those students and saying, hey, you should try this. This is a great opportunity for you. And then the other end of that is supporting students when they're enrolled in these programs, making sure that there are multi-tiered systems of support that are related specifically to college and college level programming. And then also this college and career pathway alignment work. We've got career pathways at FCC. We're doing a lot of work around that to see what that means in terms of blueprint and how that program they're accessing usually non-credit programs, although some of them are credit bearing, to get certifications and credentials through FCC. And we're hoping that maybe that work can partner with some of our CTE work with our partnership with FCC, but also work to serve our blueprint goals and things like that for our students. We also, with this college and career pathway alignment, we're exploring some new kind of career-themed dual enrollment tracks. So we have FCC Biotechnology Internship, which actually was started in partnership with the work-based learning coordinators, but now has developed into a dual enrollment program where students are actually earning 6 college credits. And they're also, it's at FCC and they're getting some internship work. So again, that's a partnership both across our shared areas and also with FCC. There's also at CTC, they've always had a medical assisting program for a long time, but Frederick Community College also offers a medical assisting AA. And so we are offering both the traditional medical assisting program at CTC, but also a dual enrollment only track for our medical assistant students there, and that'll start in spring. And so we're just getting creative with how we're fusing college and career really seamlessly for our students. And then also continuing to, I did mention those blended developmental or those bridging courses. We're really looking at how are we supporting students who could do this college work if they had a little extra help or a little extra academic intervention while they're accessing it. And FCC has programs and pathways for that we're using, but we're also developing new collaborative ideas. And that's very much part of the blueprint with support pathways, making sure we're reaching out to higher ed to support students who are on track for CCR, but maybe don't need it by the end of 10th grade. We also have, we're doing some work around intentional sequencing of high school-based courses. We're developing, some of the majors at FCC have started developing recommended courses for students to take. If they want to major in this, you might want to try taking these dual enrollment courses. And so that's part of that messaging that we're trying to do. So general messaging to younger families and students, but also once the students are committed, making sure that it's purposeful. And then new courses, we're also exploring new modalities. And what that means is we have some online courses that are running systemically across a couple of different schools. And we're exploring some of that and how we can get more access for students, even if we don't have transportation or we can't offer that class at every high school, can we offer it in some other format to be able to allow students to access it? So that's where we are right now. And I welcome any questions.
So I hesitate to call him Mr. J, but if he wants to ask questions, you can chime in. I think you're listening, but busy. And Ms. Allen, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I do. Thanks. I have a couple. On slide 6, and I think I'm looking at a PDF right now, so just to let you know. So it is slide 6. It's the growth since 21-22. Do those numbers represent only seniors?
Yes, so that is seniors, and if they've taken one of those courses at any time in their high school career. And the goal with that is to make sure that we're seeing kind of the whole picture of an FCPS high school student's journey. So if they're graduating from our schools, having participated in one or more of these programs.
Okay, great. One more question. What is the total number of seniors that those percentages represent?
We'd have to try to get that.
Yeah, I'd have to look exactly. to see how many seniors we have. We've also had more seniors the last few years because we've had more enrollment than the last few years. But that's why I like to track percentage of seniors. But I can follow up with the exact numbers. It is on our dashboard.
Yeah, our cohorts, Ms. Allen, as far as grade level, are usually somewhere between a little over 3,000 to 3,200. But we would have to get an exact number for you.
Okay, well, that gives me an idea. I don't, I would like an exact number, but it doesn't have to be today, okay?
We're happy to get that to you.
All right, great. And then as I'm going to go all the way down to basically the last slide and the information you were presenting about new courses, new modalities, kind of future initiatives. Is it possible, or does it already exist, that a student in a school that does not offer AP classes has the ability to maybe connect virtually during the day when it is presented at another school?
So right now for AP, we have the Frederick County Virtual School offers, I think, 5 AP courses that students are able to take through their virtual outside of school program. We right now don't have, I think what you're describing is kind of like a LinkedIn where they're real-time accessing another teacher's instruction. We don't currently have something set up like that. At the dual enrollment side, we are running some structured remote courses. So there's one actually at Brunswick High School that's in the child development pathway, where the teacher does have the students from Brunswick High School sometimes report in person for that class, but the primary modality for that course is structured remote, and it does take place during first block in our high schools, which is pretty similar times for all high schools. So it has students from all over Frederick County accessing that course. So we are exploring some of those modalities. But there's a lot of complexity with getting those set up and making sure that the instructional program for students is consistent and high quality when you set those up. So, so yes, we're not there yet with AP in the model that you're describing. We have one course running in dual enrollment in the model you're describing, and then some additional models for virtual access.
Great, thank you very much. I appreciate the thorough answer. That's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. I'm looking puzzlingly at my note that I was going to ask a question. Oh, that's what it was. Thank you. I didn't write enough there. But so you said more kids are doing dual enrollment and AP, and it's so with more kids taking the AP exams, are more passing, or are they just kind of giving it a shot?
We have not had a decline in pass rates. It'll be interesting to see this year, because historically we've had probably about 75% of students enrolled in the course taking the exam. I anticipate that going way up this year, because now they don't have to pay for any of their exams. So we're interested to see if it impacts our pass rates. What we found with dual enrollment access is that students are passing at the same rate, even as we're admitting a broader range of students. So students are still performing very well, even as we expand access. But we do pay attention to it. It's a really great question.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not bothered by the fact that they might give it a shot, but sometimes if you don't have those dollars in the game, you're like, oh, I'll try it. And so I was just wondering if you were seeing any impact. It's really interesting because I have 3 children that have all been out of high school more than half of their lives. Only one of them took one AP course, and that she was a math major and she took calculus. But I mean, she has her bachelor's in math, so fit right in. But it's such a different world. And the other different world is, I went to Damascus High School, graduated with a fairly small class. University of Maryland, College Park, here you go. My second class, I think my first class was math. It wasn't terribly big, but I was on the wrong subfloor of the building because I think it went down like 3 floors, and so I was in the wrong class to start with. I was a commuter, but my second class had 500 people in the lecture hall, and it was just, I could talk for hours about my experience as a college student, but an unmotivated college student to boot. But, it's just when I hear, just the supports that students are getting, kids that might have thought they wanted to, and I will hear from the career coaches. I'm very interested to hear about that. And I just think, obviously you're pulling a lot of complex. You got the blueprint, you got FCC, but so many, and the trustees at FCC, I know several of them well, and they are just very proud. And Dr. Cheek, it's just, just came back from the school board conference in Annapolis last week, and like right now, Frederick County is, when I hear some of the horror stories from some of my friends, it's like, we're just in a sweet spot right now, so like, shh, don't tell anybody. But so many people doing so much good work, and thank you for everything you've done.
We are very lucky in our partnership with Frederick Community College.
Thank you so much, Diana. I appreciate it. So our next presentation is around, again, framed in the context of the blueprint, college and career ready pathways. And this is around career and technical education. So coming to the table, we have Norm McGackey, he's a coordinator of career and technical education. Corbett Shoemaker, he's a teacher specialist in career and technical education. Eric Bukinski, he's a coordinator and focuses on work-based learning, and relatively new to the team, but I don't know how much longer we'll be able to say that, is Laura Brown, who is our career coach coordinator. And that's a very exciting advancement that has been pushed forward by the blueprint. So if you can go to the next slide, I'll just frame out again for the public. This is pillar 3 of the blueprint, college and career readiness. And this is kind of the other part of the equation. And I don't want a comment that Diana made to be lost there. Even though we've kind of separated these because they're such large bodies of work, in the intent of the blueprint, college and career ready are very much intertwined. And it's not college or career ready, it's college and. And so you'll hear some things today in this presentation about the options that students have can span across those two concepts of career and college, because they can often lead to the very same pathway. So at this point, if you can slip to the next slide, just a reminder again for board members that we do have that one pager for you. And at this time, I'll turn it over to the team.
All right, I'm going to go to the next slide. I'm going to start. Norm McGackey, coordinator. We want to thank you for allowing us just to share our vision. And we're really focusing on empowering students. And our aim is really crystal clear. We want 45% of our graduates to achieve the industry certification credentials or a registered apprenticeship. Okay? And so these are just some areas we're going to talk about, these 4 areas. But if you want to go back to that, I'm just going to give a quick overview of the pathway focus is really, we're really fully committed to providing students with well-defined educational routes that they might have an interest in. So these pathways will guide them, and they'll either be highly skilled for jobs or highly skilled entering careers or college careers. So either way, either choice. The industry certifications we're going to talk a little bit about, that's just going to equip our students with industry recognized certifications. We're giving them a competitive edge. I was just in a computer science course just now, and we're talking about like a Python certification. Not only will our students go through a pathway, but they'll have an opportunity to earn a certification in a pathway. And then we are really focusing on, and Eric will talk a little bit about building and promoting our apprenticeships. And this gives students hands-on, real-world applications where they might decide, maybe I want to do this career, maybe I don't want to do this career, but it's going to give them real-life work experiences. And then the career coach program we're excited about, which is going to really support the students through that journey. And many of you know, these coaches are really like going to be dedicated mentors to our students, and really helping them make informed decisions with their career paths in middle school, high school, and beyond. So we really believe this personal support will really provide a significant difference in the student's success. So we're all excited. Everywhere I go, I talk about it. Okay?
If I can just say here, just sometimes I keep things till the end, but we've seen, and we have referenced it, the board members on several occasions, the youth risk survey from the state, the data, and it's depressing.
Yep.
But the one bright spot is when kids have at least one significant adult in their life that is there to support them, their chances go way up. And so this, puts me in mind.
Right. And we're really trying to connect them with our teachers. That's just another reason for our teachers. So we're going to each talk a little bit about, I'm going to take the pathway focus first. And so if you take a look here, first of all, at Frederick County Public Schools, we offer 49 different career and technical education pathway options. And they're really designed to, cater to a wide range of students' interests and whatever their careers are. The second thing I want to talk about, we are in the process right now of aligning our middle school courses to the pathways that we have at the high school. And so this means the students can start exploring their interests earlier on. And by transitioning all courses to semester options, it's going to provide more choice and opportunity and experience. So we're excited about that. And then finally, we've developed, and it's in development, where we got together with FCC, a lot of our lead teachers, and we're developing this career pathway website and these resources. And this online platform is really going to serve a valuable resource to parents, students, even educators, where you can go, and it offers like comprehensive information of what pathway. It's going to help students make informed decisions. Like it says, I want to be this. I have these skills. Well, maybe I can look at this and say, this is a pathway for me. Maybe I'd like to try the first course out. So that's something really in development. And I do want to say, Dr. Pearl is not here, the supervisor. She's on a well-deserved vacation, but we're sort of filling in for her. So, but next up is Corbin Shoemaker, and he's going to talk a little bit about certifications.
Okay, so we thought we'd share some numbers regarding certifications. As Norm shared, we have 49 CTE programs, and they are at our comprehensive schools as well as the Career and Tech Center. Those programs consist of a 3 or 4 course series that the students progress, and almost every single one of them ends in a industry certification. They often have college credit and industry certification opportunities. So some of the numbers here, we start with 110 different opportunities for students to earn certification. Some of those certifications live in multiple programs, but we have a variety and we continue to expand those. That number will be fluid as the Maryland Blueprint skills committees make adjustments to what they recognize as industry recognized credentials. Last year, we had 1,156 students earn at least one certification, with a total of 1,450 certifications being earned. So we have students earning multiple credentials in our programs. That comes to 17% of the seniors graduating with at least a certification.
That was gonna be one of my questions. When we were 45 and I knew we weren't there.
Exactly. I'm going to share some news here that I think we can be optimistic about the future for the programs we have. But we have 13% of students entering their senior year with certifications already. So they are earning it, not in their senior year, they're earning it as soon as 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade. And so we have a lot of time to get them those certifications. The thing that I point out is all of our programs have that 3 to 4 course series where a student becomes a concentrator and then a completer. And if every senior graduates, or the seniors graduating this year as a concentrator or completer is 50%. So 50% of our students are graduating as a concentrator and completer. So we have the students in our classes that have access to the certifications. We are just making greater efforts to make sure students are better prepared for those certifications and teachers have the resources needed to support students for them.
Yeah, and Corbin, now in that free to students part of the blueprint, any cost associated with taking an industry certification exam is now not on the student. So we hope that that will be yet another barrier that's removed from students who may have done the coursework but had not attempted the industry certification exam or practicum or whatever was required.
And so as Norm shared, that 45% goal, right, is industry certifications and youth apprentice for that 45%. So a student earning an industry certification or youth apprentice counts towards that.
Can you talk about some things like going in my head that you can only do the completers at CTC? Or do I have that incorrect?
Might be misinformation there. So all of our programs can be a completer or a concentrator, graduate as a completer or a concentrator at our comprehensive schools as well as Career Tech Center. So of the 49 programs, there's roughly 19 or so that live in our comprehensive, and so a student can be a CTE completer at those as well as the Career Tech Center. But the majority of our programs are at the Career Tech Center, along with the majority of those certifications.
But some of our largest pathways and completers are business,
At our comprehensive.
marketing, and those are at every high school.
But
So
I'm glad to hear that.
there's
That was a
opportunity,
little
yes,
concern,
for
yeah.
a lot of people don't realize, but there's
You know what, I think that there are only certain ones, like I'm thinking Frederick High with the big commercial kitchen, but you can't get that completed?
That one you can. So if you compare our Career Tech Center culinary program versus Frederick High, they are two different programs. So we can't say they're the same completer option. They're just different flavors.
But you can still.
They can
complete
still
it,
be.
but I swore someone told me you couldn't. So I'm glad to
Yeah.
hear that and get that corrected. Thank you.
Oh, next we're going to turn over to Eric Kinski, and he'll fill in that other side of the 45%.
Good morning. Pleased to share with you the status of FCPS's participation in the Youth Apprenticeship Program. So as of the conclusion of the second hiring season of school year 2024, we have 33 new apprentices which have been selected and placed in businesses around the county. And that is up from 14 at the same point during school year 2023. So presently, we have 36 youth apprentices who are active, including 3 who continued their apprenticeships from last school year. And this year, we did something just a little bit different. The fall hiring season is always a little bit difficult because students aren't quite in the school buildings yet, so that makes reviewing postings, applying, and then having our school-based, work-based learning coordinators coordinate all the paperwork and the visits they need to make. So we did extend the fall hiring season into the beginning of the school year, and that's something, a practice we will continue from this point forward. So one of the, not only are we looking for newer businesses, we're also looking for Frederick County's largest businesses. So Frederick County has kind of Frederick County Public Schools has put their money where their mouth is, and they have supported this by offering apprenticeships in 4 new departments in addition to the offerings they had in the Department of Tech Infrastructure. New business recruiting is ongoing and is covering a wide variety of industries, including government agencies. 2 of our newest partners who just got on board, Frederick County Government and City of Frederick. Jessica Fitzwater was very interested in the program, and we were actually invited to, Dr. Pearl and I were invited to present to all the department chiefs over at the Public Safety Training Complex, and that visit went very well. Presently, they have proposed about 10 different positions within the Frederick County government, and I believe that number will expand as they work towards their approval. Additionally, we have 2 approved businesses with the state who are going to, or have already, added Frederick County Public Schools to their participation, and that's Meritus Health, which we do anticipate for later in the year, and the Maryland Department of Transportation has offered up 3 positions in their Frederick garage and, 2 in the Frederick garage and 1 in the Westminster garage, which specializes in diesel and welding fabrication.
I'm
Do you-
sorry, Meritus, is that in Washington County?
Yes, ma'am.
It's not in Frederick.
That's right.
Frederick Health Hospital hasn't.
Frederick Health is probably one of our greatest partners, and in fact, this year they offered up some new positions in their biomed lab.
I can imagine. wouldn't.
Yes, they are fantastic. They have actually applied for grant money of their own to support apprenticeships. And they've been very creative about the incentives they're offering to recruit candidates for positions.
Yeah, so Eric, like Frederick Health, we have some other businesses who have stayed with us for multiple years. You might want to give a shout out to some of those.
Oh, indeed.
Because you were highlighting kind of new.
Yeah,
Right.
sorry.
So some of our existing standbys include who?
Yes, so Dynamic Automotive, always been a fantastic partner, and Dwayne Myers, one of their founders and president. He's been very vocal and visible over the last, well, since I've been in this position, talking about the benefits of apprenticeship. And he even did present at last week's chamber event, the Building Tomorrow's Workforce Today event that we hosted in partnership with the Chamber of Commerce. And he had a lot of great things to say there. Phoenix Meccano has been another fantastic one. They originally started off with just having students on the production floor, but now they branched out into the finance side and the logistics side. Second Chances Garage has really embraced this because we look at it as a vocational experience, but honestly, it's an extension of the classroom. And I think they've really embraced that. And even the students who have gone through there, they report things like, they took the time to teach me. Because kids can't go in there and know everything. And that's what they're there to do. They're there to apply, hone, and find skills that they develop in the classroom.
I should have realized. I mean, Dean Rose would let you not, but when the Frederick Health Hospital, not with his wife working for them. But
Right.
no, I should have realized that they did. So
Right.
thank you.
So getting the word out. So we are starting to realize more partners and more positions that are being offered. So we have targeted program staff to help get the word out about positions being offered in their content areas. And then, of course, we've leveraged our brand new career coaches to help get the word out, increase awareness, and some have even assisted with preparing application materials with students. And then to support our action plan on the Maryland Works Grant, we have assembled a local consortium to promote increased awareness and participation in the program, and are even offering a payroll incentive for new partners to help businesses realize a much faster return on the investment that they're putting into the apprentices they're hosting. And then, just like I mentioned, additionally with the support of the Frederick Chamber, we hosted an outreach event attended by a good cross section of industries and a number of local and state government officials, which I think is a good indication of the top-down support that we're getting and the amplification that this message is starting to get.
Yeah, I do. That was an event last Monday, I believe it was.
Yes, sir.
2 Mondays ago. And there were quite a number of people, not only from Frederick County, but the state. Secretary Wu attended. Rick Weldon, I do want to thank him for his leadership. He kind of hosted and kind of emceed the event, but you can see he's very passionate about the chamber and businesses within the chamber catching on with this. County Executive Fitzwater was there. There were members of the delegation were there. So very well attended. I do want to thank Eric and the CTE team. That was an all hands on deck kind of event, and it was very well done. But it's that kind of momentum that we need. And very excited to hear that so many large employers like county government, Frederick City, FCPS are kind of setting the example that we believe in apprenticeships. And so we hope that spreads to our business and nonprofit community as well. Thank you, Eric.
All right. Well, my name is Laura Brown. I'm the Career Coach Coordinator, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the Career Coach Program. So 22 career coaches have been hired and assigned to our various schools, our middle schools, our high schools, the Career Technology Center, our Hampton Ridge, virtual schools, our charter schools, and we have a career coach at FCC as well to support, Pillar 3. They are working very collaboratively with all the staff in their building to provide these career coach, career development services to all students in both individual formats and in group formats as well. They are also enrolled in the Global Career Development Facilitator course and will be earning their GCDF credential by the end of the school year. We've also developed a scope and sequence to provide some structure and guidance for career readiness from 6th grade to 12th grade. And that scope and sequence is we're utilizing Maryland's career development framework to provide some structure within that scope and sequence. Our career coaches have also disseminated a survey to all students, as many as they could, to get some baseline data so we know where students are at. And data right now shows that 73% of middle and high school students don't know what an industry certification is. 43% of middle and high school students don't know what an apprenticeship is. And 77% of middle and high school students don't know what a resume is or don't have one. So we are hoping to see the big impact that the Career Coach program and career coaches have on these numbers, hopefully decrease them throughout the year. At the end of the school year, we hope to disseminate a very similar survey to be able to quantify that impact that the career coaches are going to have.
We do think 97% of middle school kids know what Instagram is.
Absolutely.
So I do want to highlight something for the board members here. The sheer act of hiring 22 career coaches in a relatively short period of time. I don't know what that, Laura, start to finish, how long that took, but it was a very abbreviated period of time. And it reminds me of my role as a principal. We always had a hiring season in the spring. I never had to hire 22 people. And so I do want to thank our entire team, including Dr. Pearl, for committing to that process and really sorting through a large pile of qualified candidates to come up with the 22 that we had. And if you'll notice there, ensuring that all students, regardless of their school, will have access to that type of support. So that was a huge lift on their part, and I want to thank them for their efforts.
I'm seeing the 22 and I can do math.
Yeah.
That doesn't add up to all the schools that you have listed there. So does Frederick High need them because they have their links? So how did they get placed in which schools?
So we do have, Frederick High does have one. We found that the career coach at Frederick High is doing a lot of work with individual meetings, something that the Links program doesn't have the capacity for. So she's wonderful. She's meeting with so many students, about 5 a day, to be able to offer that individualized career coach service. We do have some of our career coaches who are supplying services for multiple schools. So some of our smaller schools have one career coach. Yeah, so everybody has access to one.
Okay, so maybe like Catoctin, Pine, Thermont
Yeah,
Middle.
like
maybe?
Middletown Middle and Brunswick Middle have one career coach.
Okay.
Walkersville Middle and Thermont Middle, West Frederick and TJ, and then the individual who's covering our CTC also covers Heather Ridge.
But Laura, all high schools have one.
Correct.
Correct.
All high schools have
Started
one.
there,
Some of
worked
our
our
smaller
way
middle
through
schools.
middle
That
school
makes
and
sense.
some of the other schools that you see listed there.
Yep, we have one covering all 4 charter schools.
So any questions?
So that basically takes us to the end, and
Oh,
you
sorry.
can see it's an ambitious goal, 45%. But I think with these different pillars of what we have in place, that we really feel confident that we can get with that.
Thank you.
All right.
Questions yet?
Board members online, either of you have questions?
No questions. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Yeah. I just want to thank everybody for the presentations, especially the earlier one as well. I love the inviting students. That is really, really huge. And thank you for doing that. I was actually at the Chamber of Commerce event. It was a wonderful event. I'm so glad we have so many supportive businesses in our county. I want to thank everybody for working with our businesses to bring students on board. Just an amazing process. That number, 45%, that's the blueprint number, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
It's also,
Yep. And so,
Mr. J, I think that was also outlined in the More Jobs for More Marylanders Act, which preceded the publication of the blueprint legislation itself. So clear message being sent by the state about the 45%.
well, which is wonderful. I mean, I 110% support the 45%. So I'm glad we're moving in that direction. Great work, everyone. It's just a fun presentation. Your heart and your passion comes through. Norm, thank you so much. Ms. Pearl, thank you so much. Committe, and all of the team. It's just been wonderful to watch, and I appreciate all you're doing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, all you've had to do is watch any meeting and know that this is very close to Mr. Jay's heart and what he wants for students. So, yeah, Miss Allen, anything?
No, I do have a big thank you, and Mr. J said a lot of, and reflects my feelings. Thank you, and I appreciate the time and energy you've given us today.
I have to laugh before you go because Mr. McGackey and I was at Oakdale Elementary when he came and all excited about when we were moving to, was it Google Docs or I don't know, something, and I was like,
Oh, when I was there helping train.
yes,
Yeah.
and I was not enamored with Google.
I changed your life, didn't I?
I still don't like it. But you know, when I retired and then came back, I'm like, oh my gosh, all my stuff's still in my Google Drive. How crazy is that? You know, I got my old number back in that. But no, I was already using OneDrive and stuff like that. But I was very negative, and I'm not usually very, it's like, yeah, sure, right. Anyway, so it's his enthusiasm.
That was
never
one
wanes.
of our, jobs, really
Yeah.
not defined, but hey, we're gonna go out and support schools with this.
We're gonna get people to like it. whether
It was
they want
fun,
to or
yeah.
not. No, I used Google Classroom. I'm sure I saw Dr. Copley, he came to an SCTA meeting with Schoology and talked about it, and I told people, I was gonna be here, I'd use this, it looks good, so. Thank you all for everything you're doing for the students.
Thank you, team. Looking ahead to schedule, Ms. Yoho, for the November meeting, we're going to continue our discussions around pathways. You're going to get some information around any change course guide updates, where we do a fall update sometimes.
Right,
Middle school courses update. We had shared with you some of the work that we were doing in the applied areas. And then Dr. Cash will be here for an annual world language.
love that.
Always very
That's it,
exciting.
yes. Yeah, it's, no, I like the new organization, it definitely makes sense. In middle school, when I heard some allusions who were, like trying to pull that in and get things to make sense and all. Good luck with middle school making
Right.
sense, but if anybody needs it, they do, so.
We'll get it. We'll get it.
I think we will. Thank you very much.
Future.
And we are adjourned.
All
I'm
right.
sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.